If I were VP Sara Duterte today, would I allow the impeachment court to examine my bank records? Well, my answer to that is yes. But let me explain first. Well, maybe it's not because someone forced me, no? And also not because I surrendered my constitutional rights, but because I know I am innocent, if she's really innocent. Well, let's be honest. Impeachment is not just about winning a legal battle, it's about preserving public trust. If I truly believed that my bank records would prove I did nothing wrong, well, why would I be afraid to let the impeachment court examine the records that are relevant to the allegations? Well, notice what I said. Relevant. 'Di ba? Hindi buong bank history ko, hindi lahat ng personal transactions ko. Para hindi nila sabihin na fishing expedition, 'di ba? Only those that are reasonably connected to the allegations being investigated. But if I am not hiding anything, well, of course, sige na. Because even if the law protects bank deposits, impeachment is one of the recognized exceptions under Republic Act number 1405. And the Senate still has to follow constitutional and procedural safeguards. May naalala po akong pangyayari noong 2016. Hindi naman ito impeachment, no? Pero tingin ko relevant po ito sa usapin ng transparency. When former Vice President Leni Robredo was asked to open her bank accounts, kusang loob po siyang nag-sign ng isang affidavit of transparency. Pinayagan niya yung ombudsman, ang office of the ombudsman na suriin yung kanyang bank records, no? Bulat-latin. Hindi siya naghanap ng exemption. Hindi rin siya nagtago sa likod ng bank secrecy law. Ang naging message niya noon, it's very simple. Kung wala kang itinatago, well, transparency strengthens public trust. Now, let me ask you a question, no? Halimbawa, if there is a CCTV video that proves you were never at the scene of the crime, would you hide the CCTV? Or would you voluntarily tell everyone na, sige, please play the footage? Because you know the truth is on your side. 'Di ba? And that is exactly how I look at this issue. If my bank records can completely destroy the accusations against me, then I would rather let the evidence speak than spend years convincing people through speeches and press conferences. 'Di ba? Because in politics, people remember transparency. But at the same time, they also remember hesitation. Bakit ba? 'Di ba? Bakit mo ba itinatago? Of course, I would insist that everything be done legally. Siyempre naman, hindi tayo mag-agree to a fishing expedition. I would not allow unrelated private information to be exposed. But again, pabubuksan ko na din lang, might as well allow them if I really have nothing to hide talaga. 'Di ba? Pero if you think it will violate your rights, well, the request must be specific and relevant. And also, it must be within the law. But if the records being requested are directly connected to the allegations, kung ako I would rather produce them than allow suspicions to grow. Bakit? Why? Because public office is different. When you accept one of the highest positions in the country, you also accept a higher standard of accountability. Hindi ibig sabihin na wala ka ng karapatan, 'di ba? Pero ang ibig lang sabihin nito, mas mataas yung expectations ng taong bayan sa iyo. So if I were VP Sara, I would tell the impeachment court na okay, examine the records relevant to the accusations. If they prove my innocence, let the Filipino people see that I have nothing to hide. Because at the end of the day, winning the legal argument is important, but winning back the trust of the Filipino people is even more important. If the truth is truly on your side, transparency should never be your greatest fear. It should be your strongest and greatest defense. Tama?
To try and decide this impeachment case. Kahit ang bank secrecy law po ay sumusunod at tumatalima sa impeachment court. The law explicitly states, and I quote its pertinent portions, "All deposits are hereby considered as of an absolutely confidential nature except in cases of impeachment." Walang kaduda-duda, may karapatan at kapangyarihan ng impeachment court na busisiin ang mga bank records ni VP Sara. Hindi rin po hadlang ang Data Privacy Act. The law itself affirms that confidentiality shall not apply, and I quote, "should the personal information be needed pursuant to a subpoena duly issued." Muli, walang kaduda-duda. May karapatan at kapangyarihan ng impeachment court na ipasabpina ang mga dokumento ni VP Sara Duterte. Pero sabi po ng kampo ni Vice President, irrelevant daw ang mga bank records, AMLAC reports at BIR records. Lalo na daw yung mga transaksyon na nangyari bago siya umupo bilang pangalawang Pangulo dahil wala raw itong kinalaman sa kasong ito. The prosecution respectfully but vehemently disagrees. Ayon sa report ng Anti-Money Laundering Council na isinumite sa Committee on Justice ng House of Representatives, the financial activity of Vice President Sara C. Duterte increased significantly starting 2007 when transaction values surged to 208.15 million pesos. According to this report, which is marked as Exhibit P-2-7-8, I quote, "Financial movements intensified between 2009 and 2013 with consistently high totals exceeding 400 million pesos, including notable peaks in 2009, 704.93 million pesos, 2010, 648.58 million pesos, and 2011, 597.15 million pesos. Si VP Sara po ay nanungkulan bilang Vice Mayor ng Davao City mula 2007 hanggang 2010. Naglingkod naman siya bilang Mayor ng Davao City mula 2010 hanggang 2013. From 2007 to 2013, ayon sa records ng AMLAC, lumampas sa 3 billion pesos ang kanyang financial activity. May kinalaman ba ito? Ito ba ay relevant sa Article 2 ng Articles of Impeachment, which alleges, among others, that VP Sara betrayed the public trust and culpably violated the Constitution when she amassed unexplained wealth manifestly disproportionate to her lawful income? Para sa prosecution, malinaw ang sagot. The Vice President's financial activity as Vice Mayor and Mayor of Davao City relates directly to the main fact in issue in this case, her fitness or unfitness to serve as Vice President. Let me explain. The framers of the 1987 Constitution added betrayal of public trust as a ground for impeachment, and I quote, "to include all acts which render the officer unfit to continue in office." For this honorable court to determine whether VP Sara Duterte is unfit to continue in office, it must have a clear picture of the respondent as a public servant. Kailangan makita ng publiko at ng mga senator judge ang tunay na kulay ng vice-presidente at larawan ng kanyang buong pagkatao bilang isang lingkod bayan. If she amassed staggering amounts of unexplained wealth while she was a vice mayor and mayor, doesn't that say a lot about her unfitness to serve as a vice president? Isn't that relevant to the question this court must resolve at the end of this trial of whether or not the vice president betrayed the trust given to her by the people? From what I have gathered and read, Your Honors, please, this is not the first time this court has been confronted with this issue. Sa impeachment ni dating Chief Justice Renato Corona, Tinanggap ng hukumang ito ang mga ebidensyang nakalap bago pa man siya naupo bilang punong hukom. I believe it was then Senator Judge, now presiding officer Francis Escudero, who raised the question, will the impeachment court consider only Corona's acts as Chief Justice? This after observing that some exhibits predated his appointment as Chief Justice. This matter was taken up in caucus, after which this court decided to allow such evidence. When Philippine Savings Bank President Pascual Garcia III testified before this court in the same Corona trial, he refused to answer the question of then-Senator Judge Franklin Drilon on the starting balance of Corona's 2 peso-denominated accounts. But, if I'm not mistaken, it was Senator Judge Alan Peter Cayetano who said that records of initial deposits are among the quote-unquote opening documents that should have been brought to the impeachment court. After reading the subpoena, presiding officer Senator Juan Ponce Enrile held that Senator Judge Cayetano's observation was correct. During the same hearing, the presiding officer ordered the issuance of subpoena to PS Bank Katipunan branch manager Annabel Tiongson to bring all the bank records of the Chief Justice. A few days later, the impeachment court denied the defense's motion to quash the subpoena for the peso bank accounts of CJ Corona. The presiding officer explained that the purpose of the subpoena is to find out if Corona has not included the deposits in his salin. This court also denied the defense's motion to suppress evidence on Corona's bank accounts. Sa huli, binusisi ng hukumang ito ang bank records ni Chief Justice Corona mula sa kanyang unang balanse bago pa man siya naging punong mahistrado. The panel of prosecutors respectfully submits that the subpoenas for the production of the bank records, AMLA documents, and BIR documents of the Vice President and her husband are proper and should be issued by this honorable court. Now allow me, Your Honors, to return to my first point. There is a deeper reason why this court must resist the attempts of the respondent to exclude evidence that is obviously relevant. It has to do with curtailing the power of this court. The Constitution gives this honorable court, and I quote, the sole power to try and decide impeachment cases. Kayo lang po, Your Honors, ang may kapangyarihang magpasya kung ano ang impeachable offense at kung anong ebidensya ang maaaring tanggapin para patunayan ito. Kinilala ito mismo ng Korte Suprema. In the case of Francisco versus House of Representatives, the Supreme Court declared, and I quote, a determination of what constitutes an impeachable offense is a purely political question which the Constitution has left to the sound discretion of the legislature. Such an intent is clear from the deliberations of the Constitutional Commission. Inulit po ito ng Supreme Court sa kasong Gutierrez versus House of Representatives, where the Supreme Court declared, and I quote, Francisco instructs that this issue would require the court to make a determination of what constitutes an impeachable offense. Such a determination is purely a political question which this Constitution has left to the sound discretion of the legislature. Clearly, the issue calls upon this court to decide a non-justiciable political question which is beyond the scope of its judicial power. Since this impeachment court has the sole power to determine what constitutes an impeachable offense, no one, not the Supreme Court, much less the defense, can impose limitations on that power. No one can dictate to this court how to exercise the exclusive power to decide what constitutes an impeachable offense. In closing, Your Honors, I go back to the most fundamental provision in our Constitution on the accountability of public officers, Article 11, Section 1, which provides, and I quote, public office is a public trust. Public officers and employees must at all times be accountable to the people. Ibig sabihin po, sa proseso ng impeachment, ang pananagutan sa taong bayan ang pinakamahalaga sa lahat. Kaya naman po, ang hiling namin sa korte, gamitin ang inyong natatanging kapangyarihan at karapatan na busisiin ang bank records, tax records at AMLA reports kaugnay ni VP Sara at ng kanyang asawa. Sa ganitong paraan, Your Honors, madedesisyonan ninyo ang kaso base sa buong katotohanan. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth para sa interes at kapakanan ng sambayanang Pilipino. Before I close, if Your Honors, please, if I have whatever time I have left, may I request that it be credited to my rebuttal. Maraming salamat po.